Hi, this is Julie at Love's Beginning with a message called Let's Break It Down. In order to keep the experience of suffering going, you must believe that it is possible for you and others to do wrong. When you identify with a false self, and when you see any other as their false self, you have an objective, and that objective is to keep suffering going. Suffering is an illusion that obscures the light. That is its function. Any suffering you experience, you take on willingly. It is not possible for you to be a victim. When you identify as this false self, ego keeps the dream churning for you, and in this dream you see victims and victimizers. You keep your focus on a doing that seems real, and you call different version of this doing right or wrong. As you wake up to what you have been doing with thought, you become willing to end all suffering, and you become open to being guided moment to moment in playing the part you are called to play. More important than the dream that seems to be taking place outside of you, that seems to be affecting you, becomes a deep inner listening, an opening at all times to guidance. Guidance is the voice that the thoughts of the false self have been drowning out. You learn to listen deeply, beyond the surface voice, to wait and hear the voice of response to the dream. As the voice of reactivity to the dream pauses, and you are listening deeply, you can hear the voice of response to the dream. Along the way, as you notice that you have been listening to and believing the voice of reactivity to the dream, you feel great pain. The service pain performs for you now is that it shows you clearly and directly when you are listening to the voice of reactivity to the dream. You are not capable of doing in the physical, but you are capable of receiving thought and then experiencing a doing that seems physical. We invite you to this shift in perception. The doings in the physical aren't actually happening and never actually happened. They are all without exception experiences you have given yourself with thought. The accepting of thought is true, however, this is something you have been doing. The mind is real that thought the body up. The body has always been an experience that you have given yourself with thought. You are accustomed to judging what you think you see. This is what the ego tells you. At this extreme, this is acceptable, and at this opposing extreme, this is unacceptable. Except all of this, what you seem to see, has been thought up, and it has never been real. Ego keeps you so distracted with its tales of what is acceptable and what is unacceptable that you never question if what you are seeing is real. There is no need to label or decide about anything that isn't real. There is something you can do with what is not real. You can hand it over. You can cease to attempt to control it as a separate self. The way you hand it over is to listen deeply for guidance, for the voice of response underneath the voice of reactivity. The voice of response guides you lovingly out of the dream you made. First, you have to become willing to leave the dream, to realize that it only ever meant suffering for you. Then, you become willing to listen to the voice that helps you wake up, to allow every facet of the dream to be used for the benefit of all. As you walk through this dream in the guise of a character, it seems that you have days and that you meet problems during each of these days. Remember this. Problems are perceptions defined by ego. They seem to be many, but the only problem is that you are experiencing a dream of suffering. Because problems are perceptions, you can simply hand over any perceived problems to Spirit, resting in your willingness to allow Spirit to guide perception. Your job is simply to rest, to listen, to follow, to know and to remember that you are held in love eternally, to know and to remember that all are held in love eternally. You have become accustomed to using thought to give you a sense of stability and form. Then if form changes and seems to lack the stability you once knew, you become upset, feeling betrayed and victimized. You may decide to try to take charge of form and to keep form in a stable configuration that pleases you. More dreaming, more fantasy. Guidance tells you to find your stability in that which was prior to form, that which has always completely fulfilled you. The story of physicality and of time is the story of forgetting that you have always been completely fulfilled. The voice that seems to come from that which is prior to time and space reminds you that as you truly are, you need nothing. As you truly are, you lack nothing. As you listen to the voice from prior to time and space, it helps you look upon those you call other, and to feel deeply and to remember that as they truly are, they are completely fulfilled. They lack nothing. They have never needed anything. As you bask in this wholeness, then guidance is able to give you specific instructions for the dream figure to carry out. It doesn't matter if the instructions make sense or not. The arbiter of sense can only be the ego. As you become more and more committed to hearing the voice of guidance, the ego's veto power diminishes. The ego would have you ignore the voice of guidance, telling you that ego is keeping you safe and satisfied. Do not exchange fulfillment for satisfaction. Instead, rest in what is true right now, in the love that is here for all, and allow love to make all decisions about what the character does, about what the character seems to see in others. It is our delight to speak from our eternal rest and to make you aware of yours. Thanks for listening.